Hello everyone, in this video we're going to draw Markhor. Start by drawing a circle as a guide for the front part of the body. To draw the circle, first make two small marks to indicate the circle's length, and then on the sides make two more small marks to indicate the circle's width. Then connect the marks using curved lines to finish the shape of the circle. Sketch lightly at first so that it's easy to erase if you make a mistake. Also pause the video to draw at your own pace. The circle doesn't have to be perfect, but if you're having a hard time drawing it, just trace the outer edge of a coin, a bottle cap, or anything else with a circular edge. To the right, draw another circle as a guide for the back portion of the body. Use the 4 marks method to draw this circle too. First make 4 small marks to indicate the sides of the circle, and then connect the marks using curved lines to finish the shape of the circle. This circle should be slightly smaller than the first circle. On the top left side, draw another circle as a guide for the head. Use the 4 marks method to draw this circle too. Don't place the head circle too far away, otherwise the neck will be too long. The head circle should be about 1/5 the size of the first circle. Inside the head circle, draw a curved horizontal line. This is a construction guide that will help you place the facial features later on. On the top left side, draw a shorter vertical line for another construction guide. On the bottom left side of the head circle, draw a triangular shape as a guide for the muzzle. The guide for the muzzle should be similar to a tilted letter V. On top of the head, draw 2 long straight lines as guides for the horns. Pay attention to how long these lines are in relation to the rest of the head. The longer you make these lines, the bigger the horns will be. The line on the right should be more tilted than the line on the left. On the sides of the head, draw 2 small arcs as guides for the ears. Under the first circle, draw 2 long vertical lines as guides for the front legs. Bend the line slightly to the left at the bottom to indicate the joints. Under the circle on the right, draw 2 angled lines as guides for the hind legs. These lines should bend at the top, in the middle, and at the bottom for the joints. Don't place the lines too far apart. Draw 2 short lines that connect the head to the body to create the guide for the neck. Connect the circles in the middle using 2 more lines to finish the guide for the torso. On the right side, draw a short curved line as a guide for the tail. And that's it for the guidelines. Now let's start on the final drawing. Inside the head, on top of the horizontal guide, lightly sketch a small oval for the eye. When you get the position and size of the eye right, darken the shape. Add an extra short line at the top of the eye to create the eyelashes. As you darken the shape, make the sides pointier for the corners of the eye. Inside the eye, off to the side, draw a tiny circle for a highlight. In the middle of the eye, draw a tiny oval and shade it in for the pupil. Don't overlap the tiny highlight circle as you shade the pupil. Draw a few short strokes above the eye for fur. Draw a curved line under the eye for a wrinkle. Near the bottom tip of the muzzle, lightly sketch a small curved shape for the nose. Darken the shape, but make the sides pointier so that it looks more like a triangle. Draw a couple of shorter curved lines on the sides for the nostrils. Shade the curved lines on the sides to finish the nostrils. Darken the initial line on the top left side of the nose for the top of the muzzle. Use a wavier line as you darken the guide. Now darken the lower path of the guide to create the mouth. Curve the line up on the right side to create the side of the mouth. Darken the bottom part of the guide using a curved line to create the chin. On the right side, curve the line around the mouth. Use the long line on the top right side of the head as a guide to draw the first horn. Start by lightly sketching the base of the horn around the guideline. The sides of the base should be made up of two sloping lines. The top part of the base should be wide, and the bottom part of the base should be thin, and it should be inside the head. When you get the shape of the base right, darken the lines. Use a series of short strokes at the bottom for the fur. This shape can be a bit tricky, so pause the video to draw at your own pace and sketch lightly at first so that it's easy to erase if you make a mistake. Curve the sides of the horn as you darken the shape. Darken the top part by using a couple of curved horizontal lines. Now draw the middle section of the horn around the guideline. Lightly sketch 3 curved lines on the right side. On the left side, draw a wavier line for the corkscrew shape of the horn. When you get this shape right, darken the lines. At the top, draw a horizontal line. The top part of this section should be similar to the top part of the base. Now draw the tip of the horn around the rest of the guideline. Just like before, draw 3 curved lines on the right side. Make the tip of the horn thin and pointy. On the left side, draw 2 curved lines to finish the shape. Pay attention to how these lines overlap each other to create the corkscrew shape of the horn. Now use the line on the left as a guide to draw the other horn the same way. Lightly sketch the horn around the guideline, and when you get the shape right, darken the lines. The shape of the base on this horn should be triangular, and similar to an upside down letter V. Use a series of short strokes at the bottom for the fur. Above the base, draw a couple of short curved lines for the middle section of the horn. On the left side, draw a couple of angled lines. The lines on the right side should be similar to the letter Y. Close off the middle section of the horn by drawing a long curved line at the top. Above that, draw a few short curved lines for the top of the horn. Pay attention to how these lines overlap each other to get the corkscrew shape right. Make the tip of the horn thin and pointy. Darken the small arc on the right side to create the first ear. Inside the shape, draw a couple of short curved lines for the ear's opening. Draw a few short lines at the bottom to make the base of the ear longer. Now darken the arc on the left side for the other ear. Inside the shape, draw a couple of short lines for the ear's opening and fur. Darken the outer edges of the initial guides to create the rest of the head. Draw a few short strokes on the top right side for fur. Below the head, draw a series of short strokes for the beard-like fur. Add shorter strokes along the lower edges of the guides for the base of the beard. Inside the shape, add a few more short strokes for the structure of the head and for more fur. Use the line that's under the body on the left side as a guide to draw the first front leg. Lightly sketch the shape of the leg around the guideline. Make the top part of the leg wide and the bottom thin. Angle the bottom part of the shape to the left to create the foot. When you get the shape of the leg right, darken the lines. Make the bottom of the foot flat and add a few short strokes at the top for the fur above the hoof. Use longer strokes along the top part of the leg for the longer fur. Use the line to the right as a guide to draw the other front leg the same way. Draw the shape of the leg around the guideline. Bend the bottom part of the shape to the left to create the foot. The top part of this leg will be hidden behind the first front leg. Use the angled line on the right as a guide to draw the first hind leg. Just like before, lightly sketch the shape of the leg around the guideline. Curve the shape of the leg where the guideline bends to create the joints. Make the top part of the leg wide and the rest of it skinny. At the bottom, bend the shape to the left to create the foot. When you get the shape of the leg right, darken the lines. Use a series of short strokes as you darken the top part of the leg for the long fur found there. Now use the angled line on the right side as a guide to draw the other hind leg the same way. Sketch lightly at first and only darken the lines when you get the shape right. Curve the shape of the leg where the guideline bends to create the joints. A big part of this leg will be hidden behind the other hind leg. Now use the remaining shapes and lines as guides to draw the rest of the body. Draw a series of short strokes along the lower left side for the long fur under the neck. At the top, darken the outer edges of the guides to finish the neck and back. Use short strokes at the bottom for the furry underside of the body. Add a few more short strokes within the body to emphasize the fur. Draw the tail around the curved guide on the right side. Add short strokes along the bottom for the fur. Now erase the initial guidelines. The next few steps are sped up so that the video won't be too long. Don't worry about erasing all of the guidelines. It's okay to leave some behind. Redraw any of the final lines that you may have accidentally erased. And now shade your drawing. Shade lightly at first and gradually build up to darker values. Push down lightly on your pencil for light values, and then push down harder for darker values. As you shade, use strokes that go in the direction of the fur. The strokes along the neck should be vertical, while the strokes on the body should be more horizontal. Add some shadows using a darker value. Use a series of vertical lines as you shade the horns to give them a rougher texture. Pick a light source when you shade so that the shadows are consistent. Here the light source is coming from the top, so most of the shadows will be on the underside of the shapes. As you shade the body, separate each stroke a bit so that the white of the paper comes through and creates a more furry texture. Use a darker value for the beard, the hooves, and the tail. Shading can be time consuming, so be patient and take breaks. It's a good idea to use a reference as you shade for a more accurate depiction of a Markhor. Draw a shadow at the bottom using a medium value. Keep shading until you're happy with the result. And that's it for the Markhor. Don't forget to pause the video to draw at your own pace. Also, please visit howtodrawanimals.com where every step of this tutorial is broken down into an individual image. That's how, and then the number 2, then drawanimals.com. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and a comment. Also subscribe for more videos in the future. Thank you for watching, and until next time, keep drawing.